back, everybody. The History Guy here. This is episode 6 in my series that I started a while back but haven't played lately, The Road to Independence on Empire Total War. I am the United States trying desperately to forge a new nation. And as I'm looking at things, I'm going to dive right in here, and I'll talk a little bit about the background of the American Revolution and what actually happened versus what's happening this time. I'm trying to get some alliances because I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. And the British have the Iroquois on their side, and some of the armies that are in the field currently are Iroquois, so I've got to counter that somehow. So I'm going to the Huron-Wyandot tribe because I believe they're the closest in location to where I am. So we're going to give this a try and see. Awesome. We've got a military alliance with the Huron-Wyandot, so that gives me somebody on my side. I'm also going to try to get the Cherokee. I'm not entirely sure that's going to be possible. They're already allied with Great Britain, so I'm guessing it's unlikely, but at the very least, maybe this will keep them from jumping in on the British side of the war. So we don't have any technology to offer them. I can't ally with an ally of my enemies. Okay. The Plains nations. They may be a bit far away to do anything. Oh, they're also an ally of mine. Oh, they're ally of the Iroquois. Okay. So that's kind of where we are. The Inuit are up here, so they might actually be able to help against Canada. And they are allied with one of my allies. So there may be something to this. We have nothing really to offer them other than alliance. No, I guess not. Alright, in the meantime then, we need to do something to get France and Spain on our side. Those are the traditional allies the United States had. A little background. If you're not real familiar with the story of the American Revolution, now this is a very simplified version. You know, there's a lot more to it than what I'm about to say, but I'm going to try to sum this up in about 3 minutes. Forget all the background. Let's just dive right into the actual activity of the American Revolution. It starts in April 1775 up here in Boston. The British commander in Boston sends something like 800 or 900 men out to capture some weapons and supplies in Lexington and Concord. Actually, I think it was in Concord is where they were headed. As well as, I believe, capture a couple of the rebel leaders, Sam Adams and I don't know if it's Patrick Henry or who it was. But so they send them out. They run into a small group of militia on Lexington Green. Somebody fires a shot. They're shooting at each other. 8 Americans died there. They eventually march on Concord. They get driven back to Boston over the course of the day. Hundreds of British fall. Militia come from all over the place. They besiege the city of Boston. The Continental Congress down in Philadelphia selects George Washington, a Virginian, to lead a Continental Army. He gets sent up there to lead these forces, and they besiege the city. In the meantime, Fort Ticonderoga in New York is taken. Washington sends Henry Knox over to get the guns and bring them across the mountains hundreds of miles. It's an incredible feat. They set those up. They besiege the city of Boston. The British have no choice but to back out, so they retreat by boat to Boston. They eventually come back in the summer of 1776. They take New York. It's a debacle for George Washington and his army. They retreat. They lose a lot of men. They eventually make their way into New Jersey and settle in around Philadelphia. Well, then the British come and they land their troops in Maryland. They march across. They fight the Battle of Brandywine, Germantown. They take the city of Philadelphia. Well, about that time, then, things start to turn in the Americans' favor. There's a battle fought in northern New York in Saratoga. I didn't mention there was an invasion of Canada that didn't go well for the Americans. They win in Saratoga. The French enter the war. The Spanish end up entering the war. But when the French enter the war, the British realize that they've got to pull out of Philadelphia. They don't have the troops to hold it. So they pull out of Philadelphia. They're marching across. Washington attacks them at Monmouth Courthouse. It's a stalemate, but it ends up going really well for the Americans. They retreat to New York, and pretty much that is the end of the war in the North. If things had ended there, even after things had gone badly for the Americans in the South, at the very least, probably the New England states would have won independence, regardless of what happened anywhere else. But they wanted it to be all 13 colonies. And so now the war shifts to the South. The British send an army down under Cornwallis into the South. They're able to take Charleston. They take Savannah. Something like 5,000 troops surrender, American troops in the siege of Charleston. It's horrible. It's devastating for the Americans. But you have people like Francis Marion, who are fighting in the backcountry. He's the one that the fictional character played by Mel Gibson is portrayed as in the movie The Patriot. Anyway, long story short, the Americans kind of get on their feet again when Washington sends General Nathaniel Greene down to take command of the forces in the South. He does a great job. He runs until he turns around and fights. Places like Guilford Courthouse, there's a major victory for the Americans at Kings Mountain. Long story short, Cornwallis ends up marching back north into Virginia. He sets up a base here so he can be resupplied. He can be accessed by the Navy. He pleads for help from General Clinton, but he doesn't get it. The French fleet arrives, and they box in Americans, French soldiers, and then the French fleet box in Cornwallis at Williamsburg. At Yorktown. He surrenders. Eventually, the war ends about a year and a half later with a treaty. So I missed a lot. That was not a comprehensive view of the war, but that's kind of the highlights of how it went. So I'm largely in the same situation. 1779, the Americans pretty much control the North. The British have much of the South. I have until 1825 to win this in this campaign. It's not going to take that long, I hope, but it's definitely not going to be done in 1783 like it was in real life. So right now I hold Albany, I hold Philadelphia, I hold Boston. I've got major British armies all around. I've got some native armies as well. I've got to win a big victory somewhere and somehow get the French and the Spanish on my side if I'm going to have any chance at all. So I'm not exactly sure how best to do that. I just took Philadelphia, so I've got to hold it for a little while. So we're just going to look at what we can do here to sweeten the pot for the French. And I definitely need to build some more troops, and I need to look at my army and see who needs to be kind of built back up to full strength here. Once I do all that, then we can kind of figure out where best to go from here. I just don't have a lot of men, and I can't really afford a huge army, at least for now. Boston's kind of my main army at the moment because he's got this big army, these two big armies up here that I'm kind of concerned about. But I'm just trying to see where I can win a victory. I'm thinking lashing out from Philadelphia at Annapolis or at this port here are probably my best bets. But I don't have enough troops to do that yet. So trying to figure out how to go about that. I do have a lot coming here. I'm actually going to cancel these cannons. I want to get some more actual troops in the field first. And then we'll worry about that. Got Richard Steele here. He's a rake. I'm not entirely sure what I can do with him, but we're going to figure something out. Let's send him into Annapolis. Now we're going to infiltrate. I just want to see what's going on there. He was detected. He managed to escape with his life, but he wasn't able to complete his mission. So we've got 3987 in terms of funds. Let's look at the government for just a second. So I've got about 11,600 in income, so I'm gaining about 6,000 each turn. That's the good news. So that tells me I definitely have some room to build my army a little more. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're still recruiting here. We're going to keep on going with some line infantry, I think. I'm going to try. You know what? The problem is I don't think I can get across right here because he controls this. So, yeah, so he's going to make him go all the way around. Darn it, now he's isolated up there. It wouldn't let me cross that bridge right there, probably because of these guys. Alright, so let's see what happens.
Waiting for further orders.
I have a feeling I'm going to see an army come at me somewhere. Spain declared war on me. You've got to be kidding me. I was friendly with them and the United Provinces. Not good at all. And then here comes a native army at Philadelphia. Providence is blockaded. Trade agreement canceled with Spain. Worker strike in New York. Absolute disaster for my army here. This is not good at all. In the meantime, though, we'll get this force built back up. Alright, so it looks like up here, this little force of militia may be able to do something. It looks like we've just got some armed citizenry here in Cuyahoga, which is an Iroquois territory.
They are trapped!
So I think we can probably take on equal numbers of armed citizenry. I'll go ahead and fight this battle just because I want to make sure I do it right, but I won't make you watch it. So we'll take that. We're going to just start grabbing some of these small settlements and see if that'll help. Because I'm fighting the combined forces now of Britain, Spain, and the Netherlands. So I've got to do something quick. Alright, we've taken this region from the Iroquois. So that is at least a little something. Now let's look. We've got a British army right here. We might be able to take out. There's obviously others right here. But anything I can do at all to help myself out is going to be worth it, I think, right now. So we're going to come at this little army. We're going to auto-resolve that.
We are triumphant and unbowed.
We took out almost all of his 18 men that he had there. And they're going to flee.
Forward! March!
Get these guys back into the safety of Albany. We've got 4,000 here in funds. Philadelphia is under siege, and it doesn't have a huge force, unfortunately. What can I do to help them out? I can't recruit anymore there. And anything I send from Boston is probably going to take a while. And we've got a British army right here on the verge. I'm just looking at other possibilities of things that we can do. Not a lot at the moment. I'm ready, though, for any attack that comes at Boston. Recruiting a bunch of units at the moment. Let's get some more line infantry going. And again, man, I've got to get France on my side. I don't know what I do to improve things. Maybe I can give them some technology when I research my next amount of technology. But we're kind of stuck for now. I think we'll wait and see what the British do, and maybe we can defeat them on our terms somewhere. I went ahead and simmed the next turn thinking nothing was going to happen, and I ended up fighting a battle, and I forgot to hit record. I fought a battle against the British outside of Philadelphia. They actually sent their army up from Annapolis to support the Iroquois. So it ended up being 879 of his troops against my 527 inside the fort, which is what made the difference. Now both armies have similar size. I lost about half of my men, but he lost about 3/4 of his. So a very, very important victory for me there in Philadelphia. We can look at the individual statistics and kind of the losses that were suffered. Heaviest losses among my line infantry, my armed citizenry, all died pretty much, but they were cannon fodder. Those are the ones I wanted to lose. Minutemen and the line infantry did the lion's share of the fighting. The most important thing is now I've got some experience, and I also heavily damaged those armies that were coming at Philadelphia, which should buy me a little bit of time. But the bottom line right now is I've got to deal with Spain and the Netherlands, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that without French support. Hoping that my Indian allies will start sending some troops here pretty soon. Trade route raided. My agent was executed. The workers are rioting in New York. That's awesome. That's definitely not something I need right now. I'm going to have to change the tax policy, I guess. It's going to mean less money. But unfortunately, that's kind of where I am right now. Just to kind of keep them happy. I've got a bit of money right now. So let's look at Philly. Look at the army. We've got to get them built back up again. But we're doing some significant damage to the British in and around Philadelphia. That's kind of been where the success has been coming right now. In the meantime, we've got to figure out how to get more troops into the field. Get these armies built up in Philadelphia and Boston. Get some more units kind of spread out in some other places. Reinforce the ones I've got. Maybe go after Niagara next. He's got a lot of armed citizens, but not real fighting force. Maybe we go after Annapolis. That looks kind of undefended at the moment. Let's see if maybe we can send down a small force there to take Annapolis. Nice. Okay. Our reinforcing army from Philadelphia to help out with this. I don't even have to fight this one. This is going to be an easy victory. Excellent. That's huge. We've taken Annapolis. The Huron-Wyandotte have been destroyed. So those are the allies that I had. So things go from bad to worse. George Washington, though, has gained some improvements. So mixed bag here. 718 population were killed in those riots. We've taken Maryland, which should mean more income. Let's take a look. My income's down, but that's mainly because I changed my tax rate, and I also have been recruiting further units. So let's get this unit, or this thing repaired. We can't build up the fortifications there yet. All right, but at least we've taken Maryland, so that's a step in the right direction. We definitely need more troops in Philadelphia now because I left that pretty much undefended to take Maryland.
Yes.
Let's rush these guys down there.
Any further orders?
But that leaves Albany kind of undefended too. But that's just a chance I may have to take for now. Maybe we'll send this artillery over there. Give them a little artillery. Maybe some Minutemen.
Citizens, march! Ready.
Start building that force up a little bit. We're going to get 2 more units of line infantry in Boston, so I think we might be able to afford to send some of them out. Let's send dragoons and line infantry out as well. We're going to send them down to Philadelphia. All right, I'm feeling a little bit better about my situation, but still a long way to go. All right, so here comes the big battle of this episode. General Howe, who's the overall commander in North America, has sent a major British army down toward Long Island. He attacked here, where I have just 120 Minutemen, but the forces from the area, Boston and Albany, it looks like, are actually going to come in and help out. No artillery, however, and that's going to be a major area of concern, but we're going to fight this out, see what happens. It's almost all mounted tribal auxiliary. So it looks like melee attack 6, melee defense 5, morale 6. Whereas most of mine, I've got this huge advantage in melee defense. So if they come at me in a melee attack, I should be in good shape. Let's go ahead and give this a try. Alright, so here they come. I'm still trying to get my units into position because almost my entire army is reinforcements. So looks like he's going to hit this first unit of militiamen before I'm able to get the rest of my battle line into position. So they may have some trouble over there, but let's rush some artillery over there to support them. Hopefully in the meantime we take out a bunch of them as they ride in front of me. It looks like that's working. So far so good. That gives me time to get everybody into line. So let's get these mounted units over here for support. It's all these kind of small units of tribal artillery. I tried to put my militia out on the wings, put my line infantry in the center, except for one line infantry unit that I put on my right flank, just so it wouldn't be all militia over there. Looks like he's trying to get over on my flank now. We've pretty well wiped out that unit. Here comes some more over here. See right here, line infantry over on this side. Oh yeah, we tore into him before he could even get to my line. Got one more unit of horse right here. I'm going to bring them up a little closer to the line. I got to watch here. These militia have lost about a third of their force already. Everybody else is doing all right at the moment. Wow, just took a hit right here from my line infantry. But we're taking them down. Alright, here comes a major attack on this side. We gotta be careful here. Let's go ahead and hit these guys. Yeah, my militia just melted on that side. That's a problem. Gotta pull back. Refuse that flank. These guys are gonna buy me some time, but that's about all they're gonna do. Turn around, face that way, please. Alright, is there anything going on over here? I may have to move some units over. Yeah, these guys are basically worthless right here. Unless we get them out on the flanks. So it's a battle of me winning on my right and losing on my left. I bought some time over there on the left, but that's about all I did. Let's start bringing these guys over. So we'll rush this militia over here to solidify the left side while I march these guys out and hopefully turn his flank. We've got militia and line infantry, and they're largely unscathed in this battle so far. Alright, what's happening over here? My regiment of horse is winning slightly. My militia reinforcements are coming, and it looks like they'll probably be enough to turn the tide there. I think I'm going to win. It's going to be brutal, but it's a big battle, and I'm taking on General Howe's army, so this is a big deal for me. Even though it's not redcoats, it's mostly militia, or it's mostly natives. Militia are holding their own right now. Alright, what's happening over here? That line infantry's lost half their force. Come on, take these guys out. That's the general's bodyguard. Let's kill General Howe. Yes, yes. Is that what we did? No, my general died. So this is the guy that was only in charge of one unit of militia, so I'm not entirely surprised by that. I want to see us take out General Howe. He's really close to the front. And he's got line infantry shooting at him. Nah, he's going to run. He's going to escape with his life this time. It's not the worst thing in the world. General Howe didn't particularly do a great job as commander of the British. What is going on here? We've got these guys, they're in my rear. Alright, I think this one's pretty well done for. Just got to deal with these British that somehow ended up in my rear. That's a ultimate general Civil War tactic right there, riding through the enemy line and ending up in his rear. Come on, guys, let's go deal with them. So it's going to be heavy losses, but a victory. We're going to get into these guys' flank. It's Loyalist militia. And we're actually going to be in this rear here. Did we finally? Yeah, we ran him off. Okay. So now we've got just a couple of units that we're finishing off. We'll be done. I honestly can't believe he's lasting this long being surrounded on all sides like this. There he goes. Alright, so this is my first kind of major victory in the field with large armies on both sides. Wasn't pretty. I'm still kind of learning how to wield, especially in this case. I didn't have a chance to organize my army because they were all coming in as reinforcements, so they were coming in one unit at a time, and I had to kind of rush them into the field wherever I could put them. I didn't mean to continue that. We'll go ahead and end the battle. Close victory. Okay, so you can see the major losses here. Took out almost 700 of Howe's men. That's a big force who now kind of marches toward Philadelphia, where hopefully I can lash out and finish him off. But that'll be for another episode. So we're making baby steps, but it is progress. He took New Haven. That was kind of expected. Raid on Harrisburg. He's raiding pretty much everywhere. Workers on strike in Maryland and Iroquois territory, so I basically have to lower my taxes everywhere right now. But here's the good news. I now have a little more territory than I did before. I've got Maryland, I've got Philadelphia, that part of Pennsylvania, I've got New York, I've got Boston. So it's a step in the right direction. It gives me a little bit more of a base. It gives me more income. And it gives me a little bit better of a chance. Now, I've got to get France into the war. At some point, I got to expect that I'm going to probably see Spain showing up. But I think we're in position now to build up our forces and maybe move into the south at Virginia. But I'd love to know your thoughts. I know it's kind of slow going, but it is a step in the right direction. And, hey, the Americans, it was a war of attrition. It was not an easy thing for them, and it never would have happened without French support. So I've got to get that. Let me know your thoughts. What could I do better? I'm still a relatively noob at this game, so I'm finding my way around, but I would love your input. Please hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and be watching for some more videos. So thanks for watching, guys.